So that's Milton trigger. So this is a really a good demonstration of why it's important to take care of yourself. This is Carillion photography back in 1975. It takes a picture of the energy. This is Milton's son. And so what they did is they asked Milton to do a demo. He did a lot of demos, to scientists, doctors. Excuse me. So he was asked to do a little demo, and he was in a psychiatrist's office. And his model that he worked on wasn't on a psychiatrist's couch. It was lower than he was usually used to work. And so he got a stump. They took a picture of his thumb, and back then it was all analog, so that he didn't know the picture. Nowadays you can see right away, but back then they had to take it to the lab and develop it afterwards, because they did that in the evening. So Dr. Milton, he didn't have any idea what it would look like. So that was before the session. He put his thumbprint on it. They took a picture of his thumbprint. Then he did the session. It was only about 20 minutes. And Milton just knew he was not comfortable. It was just not a good setup, and I think his model kept talking or whatever. It was just he was not comfortable. And so the second picture they took after the 20-minute session, you see how depleted his energy is after 20 minutes of being uncomfortable. So we do hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, everything hurts. Imagine what our energy looks like after working for hour and a half with tissue, with a squirrely one, or a helper, or whatever. Sometimes we just really feel drained. And so he said, well, he knew it was uncomfortable to him. So he gave me a minute to replenish. He calls it going into hookup. Nowadays, hookup means something different, but it's just other modalities call it, going into the Zen or grounding or meditate or whatever. He calls it hookup. He hooks up to the life forces around him. He goes, give me a minute, I want to take another print of my thoughts. So for only like 45 seconds, he goes into what he calls hookup, which is part of lymphatic. Lymphatic is when you hook up, then lymphatic. It's like prayer for the Catholics. That's how they get into their meditation. It's Om for people who meditate, or a mantra or something. So anyway, he goes into hookup for 45 seconds. And you see how it replenishes his energy immediately, not even a full minute. So what is really interesting is to see all the three pictures with his before the session, after 20 minutes of being uncomfortable, and after 45 seconds of hookup. So we see that this stuff is pretty powerful. Mm-hmm. If you figure it out, how you use it for yourself, it can save your career. You have a
save your marriage, save your
parents. And imagine this type of energy translating to your clients. That's why they're wiped out. Even if you have just a really gentle session, we'll see that. We did that last time too, in a very gentle session. That's why you can help them sometimes, even if you can't really do much. But this, wherever you are, translates into the client office. So, very, very powerful, very important thing. And this just, it's there, it's tangible, you can touch it. whether you believe it or not, this is science. All right. Want to hear a little Nelson's history, or are you good?
Well, the introduction on the line was that's what they talk about. That's what I just do that.
Right. So he was a mailman with an 8th grade education. He came up with this. I think it's pretty good. Talk a little bit about anatomy. Well, let's do something else first. A little housekeeping. So, there is a hot water. You can make tea. There's cold tea, a little bit of sweetener, water. We have watermelon, fruit, muffins, and breakfast party. So I don't think you'll be starving. If you are, you're right there. So I want to, if the young mother first class, like, if the class sucks, at least the food was good. So that's a little, since we're talking about taking care of yourself, if you need a break, if you need a bathroom break, just let me know and we'll take a break. It's all about taking care of yourself. That's priority number one. We will do hands-on in the afternoon, and so as a receiver, as a giver, if something doesn't feel right, you should speak up. Okay. You give feedback. Feedback is one of the most important things when you're taking the class. And I did talk to Chris on his class. But same principles work. Be nice. You know, just like something doesn't feel right, let's call rude, whatever. And we can, but this class doesn't go that much into detail. That so you have to be comfortable as a receiver, as a giver. As a giver, if something doesn't feel right, just step back and do a little grounding. Housekeeping. You will get a feedback form again to different class, so that's something you get every time. That's how I learned how to teach from this feedback. I add a little box that if you give me a really good review, permission, yes or no, to use part of it on the website. That's just as a, it's called review.
Yeah, like the Google thing. Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows how to review.
Oh, I know.
Anyways, it's the one thing of marketing that can really help you. I'm not really good with marketing. That's just the one thing you can really support me with that. And if I could just take it from the feedback form, I don't have to bother you anywhere else. Anyway, we're talking about low back and hips, and a lot of people do come in with low back issues, hips. And so one part is your hamstring. If your hamstring is tight, it will pull your pelvis back, backwards, and it will block everything, and then there's a lot more strain on the low back. If that hip can't move the way it's supposed to, it will go all into the lumbar, and that's the lumbar problem. A little bit of upper and deeper. It's like your glutes, your thighs, your pelvic floor muscles, and we have piriformis in there, which is kind of sometimes we talk. We have all those bursa in there, the ischial, bursa and the one on the outside. And we sometimes stop too where the muscles are too tight. Keep the inside too clear for the. Just so we have get reminded again of what that looks like in there. I like your sciatic nerve. That thing is big. I went to Body World. That thing is as big as a little thing. So it doesn't take much to pinch it off. That's why a lot of sciatic nerve. Also, if your feet are uneven or just posture, you can throw out your balancing your pelvis. That goes all the way up to the rest of your body. Goes off all those balances. Just if when you have one flat foot, or you have, let's say, plantar fasciitis in one foot, and you favor the foot, throws everything off. Hip replacement. Had a lady come in, all her legs one of her legs was shorter than the other, so she got a hip replacement with one of the hips, and now she's even. And she has issues. Just the body to, suddenly after, so many years of imbalance, it's now balanced, and it's a hard time for her to adjust to that. Some more. Your quads and hamstrings. Somebody comes in with a tight icy band. Quads and hamstrings. Go into that. It's complicated. Those are the first. I'm going to bring those up because I have also a client who has problems with her ischial bursa right down there, like where you sit. And I didn't even know bursa. There's that never come up. And that can be injured like from the heart fall on the butt. Like somebody falls really hard, really hard. And then she's also a cyclist, and so that was always irritating. And plus, her hamstrings were tight. And so I just started working on her hamstrings, and that really took care of it. And again, this one too, sometimes knees get irritated, and then you can release that icy band by stretching or working on the hamstrings and quads, and that will really help it. So, but now, she cycles. She reduced her cycling a little bit, but she can cycle. She can drive, take road trips, and all of that. She knows how to take care of it. There are other bursa that I never even knew about. This is from where the psoas goes through. So, psoas is really the culprit.
And what would cause a bursa to swell like that, though?
Irritation, pressure on it.
Okay.
Just constant friction when the muscle is
You
tight.
hear about bursa issues a long time, my bursa.
Yeah.
Old people would complain about it a lot, but then it just kind of, I guess there's so much other stuff now.
But as body workers and gosh, we get into that all the time, and a lot of times people, they just have pain that doesn't go away, but unless they do an MRI, they don't know it's the bursa that's irritated. And so that psoas is a tricky one, but it's psoas one that's there. But working with Traeger, you can also release it in a way that is there's no digging. You just rock it. Everything goes mush, so including so it's a little bit of movement, how all those vectors the guts pull it forward, and, you know, the back muscles pull it upwards. It's just all those forces on this area. And it's complicated, but it makes sense. Bodies are complicated, but usually it makes sense. So it's all, it's just kind of a little reminder. We work with that stuff all the time, and you hardly ever see the pictures. You don't have to remember anything like that. It's just really hard. Yeah. Way back. All those pictures, they're really easy to find. And this is actually another way to see the soma, how it goes through here. It makes like an angle, that's why there's a versa there. Versa are like the cushioning for the stuff, the muscles to go away. So no wonder people have issues with it when it's tight. Alright. So all of those, I love the internet because all of those pictures I got from the internet. So you just do a Google search and then you get all kinds of images. I love the internet for that. So I cannot give you anything because I don't have copyright, but it's really easy to find, and you can go and explore there. Even if that's how I found that it's known to the rocket field. Google it and go like, oh, that makes sense. I did have a sense that it's connected to the hamstrings, but I didn't really have an image of what is all involved, and it really helped me with my clients. And I personally, I can always tell when I have a massage therapist who knows their anatomy. It's just you can get trained. It's a different feeling if you have somebody who is familiar with anatomy. So it's always good to know to get a little reminder of what that is. Any questions, remarks, suggestions? That you can sit on the floor. But I only got one anyway. But if you want it, I have Amazon. I can order anything. That's good. I mean, that's good feedback. If anybody wants to sit on the floor, I'll make arrangements that we can all sit on the floor. Not an issue. Just come back next class. I'll be equipped. All right, so let's go ahead and take a little break, and then we'll do some mental. So